Good morning, 8th graders. Happy Wednesday, October 13th, 2020. Here is your daily CNN video and your Big 2. Yes, I said 2. Big 2 study guide notes. So you're going to go to the workflow. And as always, you have your CNN 10 warm-up. Please make sure that you are reading the prompt. It changes every day. Some of you have forgotten this. What are 2 questions that you have after watching today's show? These are questions that you might have. I wonder statements. If you are not confused or have I wonder statements, you can always pose one that someone else might ask that is not you. And you're going to click in the reply box that opens up the writing box for you. And when you're done writing, you click post reply. Other than that, for today, you have your study guide notes, which I am going to give you right now. I know it says Big 3, but it's actually a Big 2, and I will fix that. But I'm making that video for you right now, so I'm actually going to pull it up on my handy dandy Word document. So all you have for this lesson, number 2, is graphic organizer and big ideas. There is no vocab. And essentially, this is a review from last year about why are so many historical accounts different. Remember, we talked about that a little bit when we wrote about our first day of school and other factors in historical pieces. So here's your graphic organizer. Again, it's a flow chart. So you can draw it with the arrows. Essentially, we have artifacts, which is a vocab word, material evidence from the past. We have that questioning. These are the 4 historical reading skills that we learned about last lesson: sourcing, contextualizing, close reading, and corroborating. And we look at these artifacts and examine them using these historical reading skills. What kind of artifact is it? Where was it found? Is there any other artifacts like it that can corroborate what it looks like or what it was used for? And then we, as historians, attempt to construct these historical accounts. Now, there is variation or discrepancy or differences in accounts due to the following 3 things. The types of artifacts used, which we will get into later in this lesson, because there are several different types of artifacts. The viewpoint of witnesses to the event. Is it a primary source? Is it a secondary source? Again, from last year, 2 vocab words. And the historian's perspective, skill, and experience of the person constructing the account. Are they somebody who this is their first year, or have they been doing this for 30 years and are a little bit more experienced? So these are some variations that can occur in a historical account when looking at artifacts based on historians and their skills. Okay. Your big ideas for the lesson. You have these 6. Historical inquiry is the process of investigating questions about the past by selecting and analyzing evidence based on artifacts in order to make a claim or provide an explanation. Although we tend to think of history as events from the past, it is important to remember that history actually consists of accounts of the past, because remember, the past is an event and it happens only once and it disappears. We learned this last year. After the event happens, all that remains is the residue of the event, which are the documents, artifacts, and people's memories that are left behind that we have to rely on. Historians create accounts of the past by analyzing multiple sources about an event to determine what happened and why. Again, we cannot create a historical account based on one single artifact or source. We have to use that external consistency, another vocab word from last year, and make sure that the story is the same across the board, across multiple sources. Historians select and evaluate evidence of past events and interpret their meaning to create historical events. Again, artifacts and things don't come with instruction manuals. We have to do some investigating and researching to determine what they are, what they were used for, when they were used. And accounts of the past may vary due to the type of artifacts used, the viewpoint of the witnesses to the event, and the perspective, skill, and experience of the historian constructing an account. And again, you have no new word cards. It says use word cards 1 through 10 from lesson 1. So those will be in review as well throughout this lesson. But that is your Big 2 for lesson number 2.